Welcome to apartment 306, where the motherfucking players sit. Tonight, we have Gabriel Held. Cheers.
Cheers.
Take a
It's
swig.
my pleasure to be here. You don't have to ask me twice.
Gabriel, what's funny is that we did not plan this.
No.
We did not plan to be on our, who you got?
I got Mary.
You got Mary. Mary. I got Waiting to Exhale.
Oh my God, girl, let me tell you something. I was in Midtown the other day doing my taxes, and I was like, find me a thrift store, I need some jeans. And they were like, go to the Ritz thrift. And I get there and it's a full-blown Furrier, like with a vault and everything.
Oh,
but when I get into the back, they have like a vintage section run by a whole different group of people. The guy was wearing like a royal blue vest and slack outfit. And I pulled out this one coat that was like a striped teal and white Mongolian lamb, like furry coat.
Oh.
And he was like, now, who's this for? Is this for Mary? And I was like, it might be. And he was like, because you know she had a little lamb. And I was like, oh, I was thinking more of the J. Blige version. But
Mary. So you are born and raised in New York?
yes, ma'am.
In Brooklyn?
Born in Manhattan, raised in Brooklyn. But I would consider myself a Brooklynite at heart.
A Brooklynite at heart. And you come from a famous family. Your grandfather is a famous painter.
I mean, inside of that world, yeah, but it doesn't always translate outside of that world. Like, I never, ever assume anybody is going to know who he is or anything.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, art is New York City.
It is, and it is, I have to say, it's the world that I come from. You know, even my formal education, I studied to be a fine artist.
How did you start to kind of collect designer clothing?
Well, I went to the school where they filmed Gossip Girl.
Okay.
And the student body more or less matched, you know, as you would expect. My mother was teaching in a CUNY college, you know, City Tech at the foot of the Brooklyn Bridge, making like less annually than my school's tuition. But when I learned that I had a knack for finding treasures, that was the way that I could keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. Because, you know, my allowance was probably like $20 a week through high school. But with a little bit of creativity and ingenuity, I was able to find, you know, whatever the hot jeans were at the time and sell them back to the girls at school.
So it was a business that was kind of started through school.
Totally. And I mean, just for me to make like a little extra money, but at a certain point I was like an animal lover at the pound when you're like, oh, I really can't like
Leave this here.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta take this.
It gotta give it a good home.
I gotta take this saddleback purse. I gotta take this.
Oh my God, you know what? Recently I couldn't sleep because I was obsessing over the idea of if they make time travel a reality, what year do I want to go back to Canal Street and see what bootlegs can I get that year?
What bootlegs can I get? Oh my goodness.
I was like, yeah.
When did you know that this was something? That like being a vintage dealer
recently, I gotta
was,
tell
like,
you,
something?
It's been pretty recent.
Like how recent?
I mean, that I really started doing it full time would be about 2.5 years.
Okay.
As I said, I studied art and I came out like assuming that I was going to be working in that field. I graduated college 2008 with an interdisciplinary sculpture degree with a gender theory minor and a photography concentration. In other words, like not employable. And 2008 was, you know, the year that like all the publications started to go and
The world changed, the recession.
yeah, it was.
That's why I'm here, because I had to make my own job.
So after applying for something like 200 gallery receptionist jobs, before somebody was like, you know, they might not hire you because you're not like a young blonde girl. And I was like, well, I could be 2 out of 3 in like 20 minutes. But
Give me a wig and a lip gloss and I'll be back. Switching gears, let's hop over to someone we both have a mutual love for.
all right, I think I know who.
Mother Misa. Ooh.
Sorry.
Let me
Not
get one.
unrelated to Misa. I'm having a second sip. Just a second one.
Not that we're like 4 glasses in or anything.
Yeah, no, of course not.
But Mother Misa Hilton.
Misa Hilton, Brim. Is
Still,
she?
no mas brim.
No mas. Okay. So scratch that.
Misa Hilton.
Misa Hilton.
How did you guys meet?
Well, this is actually not dissimilar to the way that we met. It was through Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, because I've been a Lil' Kim fan for a long time. So thinking about Kim's style, and it was actually from Wendy Williams' second book that I think was it Wendy's Got the Heat or the Wendy Williams Experience?
I don't know.
It was like early 2000s, but she did an in-depth, like hour-long interview with Misa on the audiobook, and that was how I first got acquainted with her work. But it took me a while to put the pieces together that this like Lil' Kim style that I loved was actually just the Misa technique.
The brainchild of the inventor of Ghetto Fabulous.
I mean, I would say she is.
She absolutely is. I mean, you put, Jodeci in those looks.
That was a major turning thing, was Jodeci and early Mary J. Blige, was that R&B groups were dressing
like rappers.
Well, yeah, for the first time. Instead of dressing in suits or like gowns, they were coming out, and that reflected Mary's personality.
For sure.
To have her be a little bit rougher. And I don't know as much
Mary,
about the guys.
have a sip, Mary.
Yes.
Bless you, Mary. But yeah, for sure. She totally, invented that style, and she was very young doing that kind of stuff.
Very young. She was very young. She was like 19, I think, at the time that we saw her in
the hot tub.
In the hot tub, yeah.
We can do this every weekend. Is that all right with you? Keep banging.
I'll be like, shy Misa.
Shy Misa, little mother, tiny Misa.
So when I put together 2 and 2 that Misa was behind all these looks that I love so much, I started kind of trying to get her attention on Instagram, just like tagging her and things. And I guess she just, she was picking up what I was putting down.
Yeah.
And I've always been a collector of many things, of objects and experiences, but definitely images for like as long as I can remember. I've kept a physical folder or a digital folder. And so I dug up all these throwbacks for her, and she was like, oh, he knows how to find that stuff.
A reference, he knows how to dig. Archives.
Yeah, to archive, exactly. And so then, I guess she contacted me first for Keisha Cole project. But what she told me was that once she sees you, she pretty much sees you forever. And I should have had more faith, because we did something together and then it was like a year before we did anything else together. But now in the past couple of weeks, I've done just a bunch of projects for her.
Yeah.
And she couldn't be lovelier. Like, I know you guys have had your encounter.
Yeah, and she was graceful and lovely. I was like super stoked. I was so excited. I was like, you were in the hot tub.
She was in the hot tub.
You were in the hot tub with your little brown puffs. I was like an idiot. I was like a bumbling idiot. I don't know why I was so excited. Because you didn't say anything in the hot tub, but she just represented like everything, I had wanted to intern for China Doll Enterprises.
Yes.
So
I told her that, by the way.
I saw her and I was like, you Mama Misa.
She is. I mean, but you've got other mothers.
I do have other mothers, but she is, she is probably not enough people recognize what she did for, hip hop and fashion. Speaking of girls. You went to school.
Well, I didn't go to school.
You met at camp? Like, how do you guys meet?
Okay, this is the story, is that I went to school with our mutual friend Isabel Halley, who's, I think that Lena's parents are her godparents, but also just kind of like the microcosm of New York art world kids.
And hold on, Lena
Dunham.
Okay,
Dunham.
so we're okay.
Hi, Lena.
Hey, girl.
You might not see this.
Or you might.
Or she might. So I'll tell you what I told her, which is that, as Keenan said when he was playing Reba, ever since she popped out her mama's butt, I knew she was destined for greatness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
She's been grinding since I've known her too, which is like middle school.
But you were also a part of that grind, like going back to some of her early
That's true.
works.
We did a series called Delusional Downtown Divas together that I think ended up on cable eventually on Ovation or something.
I live for Ovation.
It was a trip though, because it was like loosely at times, but sometimes tightly based on our real lives. So that's always interesting to like play out moments from your past on camera.
Yeah.
But But it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
But you were ready for it.
I was ready.
I've seen some of those old photos of you.
I brought the looks. I brought some crazy.
If anybody was ready to be on TV as like a teenager, it was you. Okay, so we're back and we're in our full-on diva look.
25% diva look.
25%. We're in like teenage girls who just watched Divas Live.
Yeah.
Looked.
Yeah.
And I just watched Aretha Franklin, A Rose Is Still a Rose.
Oh,
and
yes.
fuck you, Q-Tip, for doing that to Elise Neal. You used her and abused her. And then all those women had to gather in that garden with Aretha Franklin around a piano.
Okay, speaking of which, for many years, like that came out, 20 years ago almost?
Yeah.
For many years, I heard, now she wears a thong. But now she wears her thorns. But you know how Aretha be like, shave me. Everything gets a little mushy.
Listen.
Although I will tell you, by the time I was in first grade, I knew every word to every song on Aretha's Greatest Hits double album.
Really?
Yes, because my father is a DJ, you know, and my mother just loves like Motown and soul. So we grew up with a lot of Tony Braxton was a lot in my house actually.
Listen, I always think of you inside of my private space. Can't imagine you touching my private parts.
Let me think for a second. That guy's been killing it lately with the see me up and work. He's been killing it. But like let's see. First thing Monday morning, I'm gonna pack my tears away.
And I'm wearing my Waiting to Exhale shirt. So I'm actually into what the song you were just giving. Oh, to close us out.
Well, because that record was so legendary.
Shouts out to Babyface.
Yes.
Every single song. My mother would play that song. And I didn't realize my mother's single mom, young, and she would play that. She would crank that shit.
How about all the time I was loving you, you were busy loving yourself. I would stop breathing if you told me to.
And now you're busy loving someone else.
I'm not ready to go. I'm not ready to go to Marytown. I'm sorry.
You're not ready. This doesn't matter. They can see you.
People can see.
And you're like really give
into a performance.
Yeah.
They can see me on Instagram at Gabriel_Held. Can I plug some stuff?
For sure.
Maybe I actually want to plug it with like my hair.
I'm gonna keep my hair.
As if I'm not gonna get back in the bathroom when I get home and like.
I'm gonna keep my hair because I feel like a tween in Atlanta, getting ready for summer with these micro braids. Go ahead.
So I have a line coming out, a small line with print all over me this summer, where we're gonna be doing like 6 looks in 6 different textiles that I've designed. But we're doing like the J-Lo denim jumpsuit.
Yes.
In like
little belt.
Yeah.
Yes. My love don't cost a thing. I'll take this off and throw it.
So we're doing that in like 6 prints. We're doing like a little quilted bomber and mini skirt suit. We're gonna do like a sheer chiffon pajama pantsuit.
Nice.
Well, that might be for you.
I'll be into that.
And it's gonna be like we're gonna do like a Gabriel Held like logo, like Gucci style. We're gonna do some of my door knocker collages, which you may or may not have seen, but I've got that. I'm doing a little column for Galore that's like a fashion anti-police is the way I would frame it, I guess. And yeah, I mean, that's really the only like concrete stuff to plug, I guess. But thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
It was so my pleasure.
For sure, it was. I mean, really, it was my pleasure.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
You're so much fun. I think people see you on Instagram and think you're fun, but he is just as much fun in person.
And I exist offline. I exist.
In IRL, this has been Gabriel Held. Good night.